Hello, and welcome to Two Dudes Talk Tattoos, a podcast about tattooing and a bunch of other stuff. I'm your co-host, Ryan Othus. You can find me online at Instagram, RIAN_OTHUS, at bettertattooing.com, and the YouTube channel, Better Tattooing. We just started that this year, and we're already doing pretty good, so anyone who's gone and subscribed to that, thank you so much. My co-host, Brian, is not here because this is how we do things. I just record, and then he likes to, do what he's doing and just come on and give some opinions. That's always a lot of fun. Brian can be found online at the Scarlet Veil Tattoo Gallery in Corvallis, Oregon. God, I remember where that was from. He also owns a Tailored Fit Tattoo Gallery in Rogers, Arkansas. You can find both those on Facebook as well as Instagram. And you can find his personal tattoo page. I believe it's still Brian Matthew. It's one T on Matthew. Brian Matthew _illustrations at Instagram, and Brian _Matthew _tattoos as well. And if I didn't get it right, Brian, just tell me. I don't know why I haven't looked this up and just actually memorized your stuff by now. I mean, we're like 20 shows in. You figure I'd get it, hey? Anyways, it's 97 degrees out in the garage right now. I'm drinking water. No alcohol, surprisingly enough, because we got a long trip ahead of us for the next 3 days. Going to be out of town. It's been a lot of travel this time of year, which is actually kind of like backwards. Most of the time we're usually kind of a little bit more steady, static near home in the summer, which is nice. But I work in a few different places, and the demand in one of the shops is much higher than other places. So that's always a lot of fun. Anyways, I'm just rambling. Sorry. That's just how I be today. This week we didn't have a guest on. It's my fault. I had just scheduled stuff incorrectly because I had a few health issues over the past couple weeks that kept me out of standard, normal rotation, I guess you could say. But everything is okay now. And next week we're going to be having a really cool dude on, Adira, who's a buddy of mine who works down in Texas. He talks about DNA vaccines and tattoos. It's fun. See what happens with that. But this week, it's just going to be me and Brian talking again. We go over a few things. This is kind of a fun episode. We've been getting a lot of questions being sent in various different platforms. People want to discuss stuff about tattooing, which has been great. I mean, I think that both of us being educators, it kind of feels a little bit more natural to be sitting there answering questions, kind of jibbing on a few people when they write in stuff that is considered, I guess, more basic foundational knowledge, but maybe not as prevalent as maybe me and Brian assume that it is. So if anyone's feelings did get hurt, I apologize in advance. It's all just some good fun. We're not trying to rag on anyone at all. We always want people to be improving all the time. So that's kind of the whole point when we started doing this stuff, is to bring more of the, I don't know, what je ne sais quoi of tattooing forward rather than just leaving it in the dark. What else has been going on? Well, this we got a proper sponsor past, Dragonhawk, which, I mean, to begin the show right now, if you are looking for a new machine, head over to Dragonhawk Tattoo Supply. Use the code 2DUDES, one word, TWODUDES, at checkout to save 10%. Maybe it's 15% now. I don't know. We got a lot of people going over there, so thanks everyone for going and doing that. Yeah, Dragonhawk's rad. They make good machines for cheap. You don't have to spend $1,200 to feel like a pro. Anyways, the real, and I get air quotes around real sponsorship, is with a big company. I'm doing the ad reads today, and it's driving me nuts. I don't like how things are worded, but that's okay. I'm not in advertising. I'm throwing up such big air quotes, I almost gave myself whiplash, but that's fine. What do we got for homework this week? Because Brian and I are sitting there talking about just a bunch of stuff. It's just kind of like more of a hangout sesh. I didn't get to see him when he came to town because of all the health problems that I was going through, but we did get to do a nice long recording. I think this one's going to clock in at around 2 hours, so I guess the homework is listen to the show. Ha 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 ha. Isn't that dumb? No, listen to the show anyways. But things to think about for this week. Maybe we can do it coming up for the next one here. It's homework for the next show. This one's just more of a riff. We'll say for the next show, we need to think about how the body fights invaders, pathogens, right? Things that can make us sick. And how possibly being scared of needles, maybe you're scared of medical establishments, things like this, how that could possibly influence public health at scale, we'll say globally. If you don't like doctors and you don't like hypodermic hollow core needles being shoved into your skin, Maybe you have an actual phobia of it. Maybe you just don't like it. Maybe whatever. Or you don't like the feeling of getting a vaccine. How would you like it if you didn't have to get stabbed with a needle that deep? What if it was just a pinprick? What if it was something that didn't even produce blood, exudate, nothing? What if it was just like a sewing needle that barely touched your skin? Is that something that you'd like? Is that something that you would go for over something else? And I'm not saying to go home and test by stabbing yourself with a hypodermic needle and a sewing needle to see which one hurts worse. No, 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 no. Don't do that. Leave your body alone. What I'm saying is maybe there's alternatives to tricking the body into fighting a virus, fighting, bacteria, fighting invading pathogens that can make us sick that doesn't have to be as invasive. When they came up with laparoscopic surgery, they stopped cutting people from stem to stern to get access, right? And it was innovative and it was neat. It was like, why hadn't we thought of this from the beginning? It seems pretty simple. Yes, now we can do it because we have digital cameras, which is kind of the requisite for this. But if you can do something that's not going to be as destructive, shouldn't you do it? Question mark on that one. I don't know. That's going to be our stuff for next week. If you want to go ahead and check out Adira's stuff, just go type in DNA tattoo vaccine into Google, your favorite search browser, whatever, a DuckDuckGo. I don't know what the hell it is. And just go check him out. He's really cool. It'll be fun to talk to him. Anyways, I've been reading ad copy for the past hour and a half, and my brain is dead. So I want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. If you get a chance after the show to go and leave us a review on Apple, iTunes, give us a star like on Spotify, or give us a thumbs up on any other place you can. That'd be great. It's been helping us pop up in the ratings section. And we're in the top 50 in Apple now, Apple Podcasts, for art and design, which is wild. I never thought that would happen. So thank you to everyone who's left a review so far. I think we're around 10. It only took 10 to break the top 50. Could you imagine if we got 100? It'd be like world domination tattooing wise. And that's it. So I'll leave you with the show now. Thank you very much for listening, and we will talk to you again at the end of this. Bye for now.
We can chit chat about that.
Yeah.
There was something else that was funny, and I can't remember what it was. Maybe it'll come up during conversation. I don't know. I know there was something that I was laughing about, and I was pretty sure I messaged it to you, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either, dude.
My last 2 weeks is a blur.
Yeah. Artwork you're putting out is cool. I like that snail shit that you had done, or the fucking moth with the ferns and the plants and stuff. I don't know why I keep saying snail shit, but that was fucking rad, dude. I really like the palette that you chose on that. It worked well with that skin. It was cool.
Yeah, very Art Nouveau.
Yeah. Oh, totally. It was like a lithographic print.
I wanted like the take on Art Nouveau without having to like label it Art Nouveau, right? Like that's why I threw in the kind of realism moth and snail. I
Yeah.
was like, I don't want it to be solely Nouveau or something because I feel like that would have been boring.
Yeah.
So had to put in a little bit more realism on the characters.
That was cool. Yeah, I showed that picture to I think 3 people, and I sold 3 tattoos from your work.
Nice.
I'm like, this is my friend. And showed them like, oh, I want that. I'm like, I know you do. It's because it's really cool, right? It was neat with the color choices on that though, because I mean, like the skin tone. Was that the one that was just difficult to? Maybe it took a little bit longer than normal. We'll say difficult skin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was slightly rough skin. But I worked on somebody like 2 days after that that had far worse skin. uh, so like her skin was just it was just iffy in spots, and everything that I did on that was done with a 7 mag and probably should have been done with a 5 mag because it
Oh,
was actually really tiny. All those tiny little spaces and bullshit.
yeah.
Like all those each individual little pink flower petal is only like a quarter of a fucking inch big or
Oh
something.
no shit.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
wow. Yeah, yeah, that's tight.
that whole tattoo is almost the size of my hand.
Oh, no kidding, dude.
It's fucking tiny.
Oh wow. So she was not a tall person, we'll say.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Holy cow, I thought it was way bigger. That's cool. Oh,
I
dude.
know. So
And
when
now
I
the
drew it,
timeline on that, I'm like, holy shit. Like you really put some hours into that, bro. Holy cow.
when I
Ugh.
drew it in my head, I pictured that it was gonna be huge.
Yeah.
And then once I printed it off, I was just like, fuck.
uh I did that this week too. I had a mandala with all these like leaves and stuff, whatever. And I had a picture in my head that it was going to be an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, right? Just the mandala plus the accents and stuff. And I printed it out, and it was 1/4 of an 8.5 by 11. I was like, fuck me. I was like bug 3, just cross-eyed fucking trying to do shit. And that took me way too long. Just an outline on this fucking mandala took me like 3 hours.
Right.
Which for me is like everyone was like, "What's wrong with you today, Ryan? Why aren't you talking?" I'm like, "Get fucked." My eyes just got a picture that's been healing up well, so that's good. But that's the theme of this week. Nothing was sized right in my brain.
It's kind of how this whole week went for me too.
Yeah.
Everything was way smaller than originally intended. So everything, of course, took twice as long as it was supposed to. But
Yeah.
got the job done. That's all that fucking matters.
That's
I'm
cool,
not gonna
dude.
complain about it.
Yeah. That's something that people don't know too. Is like, they always think that like size is going to dictate how long it's going to take to get something fucking done, and that's not the fucking way that it works.
Yeah, no, like if I like draw out a sleeve to be a sleeve, chances are I'm gonna blast through that shit.
Yeah.
Because I'm just gonna use the needle groupings I'm comfortable with. I
Mm.
just know how I'm gonna approach it and everything else. If I draw something and then have to shrink it down,
Oh,
that makes
fuck.
it take twice as long. And that's what people don't get. Like shrinking it does not make it go faster. It makes it take longer
It
because
does.
then we have to fight the entire design the whole way through.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a good comparison. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram. I put up that picture. It's a sleeve. It's gonna be flowers and planets in the solar
Yeah, I
system.
just saw that, I think.
So all the gray shading, they did that in 2 3/4 hours. And I said, like, normally I'll take a break like every 45 minutes to get up and stretch, and I got to walk my legs. I just sat down and I fucking went. The lady I was tattooing, she's like, "Hey Ryan, why haven't you taken a fucking break?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I guess it's because I'm getting healthy now." And I just kept fucking working. I just like crushed the whole arm in that amount of time. She's all, "Jesus Christ, man." And I think I kind of shot myself on the dollars there, but yeah, here you go. Have a nice fucking day, right? But it's big, right? I was at 11 mag and a fucking like a loose 3, and just like mobbed through it in 2 3/4 hours, which is probably not the best, but time wise for my pocketbook, that's cool. And then we're gonna do the planets, and that we're all going to be doing it like NASA photos of Earth at night. You can see like the lights and stuff. So we're going to
Nice.
do that. So instead of just having the planets like full bright sunshine, all of them are going to be cascading into darkness, which I thought was kind of cool, right?
Just think of how great the new universe tattoos and bullshit are gonna be with the James Webb fucking
Oh, dude, that's gonna be so cool.
right. The reference photos for everything are just gonna get so much better now.
That's gonna be fucking rad. Ah, thank God we love you, Hubble, but you didn't work well enough for us.
Outdated goddamn dinosaur.
What was it? 4 megapixels? Get fucked. Oh, that's funny, dude. So anyways, the rest of your trip has been good so far. You guys are still everything's going good, you know?
Yeah. Jumping into things though, I tattooed this firefighter guy, right? And he wanted to schedule a touch-up session. And I don't generally get a lot of touch-up
No,
requests.
no.
But he scheduled one, so of course I immediately started panicking, wonder how much I fucked up this tattoo, right?
Oh, I
And
know that
then
dread. Yeah.
when he
Oh.
finally showed up, even seeing his arm from across the parking lot, I was like, man, that looks fucking great. You know, so when he got closer, I was like, so what's going on with your arm? What the fuck? And he started showing me his arm, and he's got all these small little scars all over his arm, right? I was like, what is this? He's like, well, it turns out uh, when we were tattooing him, you know, so I did the first session of color work on his arm. There was a lot of red. And when he came back after that was healed, the red that we did, a lot of red and orange and shit like that on his forearm and etc. all had these like big chunks of blobby white skin
I think I
built up on
remember
top
you
of it.
shown me that before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I did
Yeah.
send you pictures
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
So inevitably, I ended up just being like, man, that is. I don't know what to tell you about that because that's not something that would normally happen from tattooing. You know, I was
Yeah.
like, there's a chance, a very small chance, I just scarred the shit out of you, I
Yeah.
guess.
Totally right.
But not if I just colored your entire fucking arm and only these weird little places have issues. I was like, I don't know exactly what it is, but you should definitely have a dermatologist check it out.
Yeah.
So he took my word for it. Went and scheduled with a dermatologist, and he said it took him 8 months to get in to see the dermatologist.
Fuck, no way.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So the longer he waited to see the dermatologist, the bigger these things got on his arm, right?
Yeah.
Finally gets in to see the doctor, right? And they chop some shit off, biopsy it, and all that shit, check it. Turns out it was skin cancer.
Fuck.
So the guy was riddled with these cancerous blobs all over the place, and those were just the ones that we could see on top.
No
right?
shit.
So inevitably, our speculation is the idea that tattooing his arm affected it in such a way that it caused the cancer to go to the surface and present itself.
Yeah, that makes sense. Actually, I could see that kind of happening, right? Because like certain times, if you have a specific trauma on an area that's like precancerous or like cancerous, maybe it's like deeper in the tissues. The remodeling actually can force it up so it'll present itself. So that's actually really interesting. At the same time, reds and oranges, super inflammatory. Maybe you had a mild sensitivity to it. It was deeper set, and it fucking just shoved it way up. That's super duper cool, man.
Right? Yeah. No. So I
Tattooing
was
is so
pretty
cool.
fascinated.
That's fucking
But
great.
he had to get all that
Diagnostic
shit.
test.
Yeah. But he had to get all that shit chopped out of his arm and then have it all stitched back together. So there was just bits and pieces of the tattoo all like scarred up and where they had to suture
shit.
everything back together. So we just did a quick touch up and hit up all the scars, re-leveled everything out because it put like a big U shape
Oh no!
where the skin pulled.
Oh, so they excised
So
like a good chunk or chunks out of this dude's fucking arm, eh?
right. So instead of having a line straight across his wrist, there was a U that ended up being on his wrist where like the skin was pulled upwards towards his elbow.
It was a straight incision, took out a chunk, and then just slowly pulled it back up and fucking curved it.
Right.
Oh fuck, that's cool.
So we leveled everything back out.
Yeah. How were the surgical scars after having an excision done? Was not too bad, not raised, not like
no, they were really good. They were maybe like a millimeter wide white scar, but smooth to the touch.
No shit. He had a good surgeon. Holy shit.
Right?
Yeah. You're like, You should have seen it, Ryan. That was fucking nuts, dude. Wow, that's cool. What's your thoughts, at least like now that the I guess this second slash pass or whatever has been done? What do you think is going to happen with the skin moving forward with scar tissue and stuff? I think it's going to blend fine.
I think it should be all right.
Uh,
Once again, it didn't feel weird when I was tattooing over it or anything. It didn't feel like harder than the skin around it, you know.
Mobile. It's not like a just
Right.
yeah. That's cool, dude. But it's like tattooing over some of like large mastectomy scars and stuff, and those like really heavy, like strong
Right.
adhesion level. They're non-mobile. You tattoo over it, and you're just like, well, okay, I wonder if that's gonna hold, right? We're not putting any detail near this shit. That's gonna be some background, right? So if it holds, that'd be cool. Remember the design you have was pretty complex too, right? Well, like you're complex, of course. So it
Yeah,
was a cool
Saint
design.
Florian, fire that went all the way up his arm.
Mhm.
A bunch of houses and shit at the bottom of it were like on fire and
It was
stuff.
rad
And
as fuck. Yeah. I like you're talking about it and you're smiling. You're like,
it sounds like when you're describing it out loud, it sounds like a really dark image.
Yeah.
But the way that we did it presented it in kind of a bright light, you know,
yeah.
like it's a wholesome image. It's not some sadistic weird shit.
That's funny, dude. Hell yeah. It's not everything has to be metal. Some things can be
Right.
beautiful, even if it's destructive. Yeah, that's fucking great, dude. Any other life-saving procedures you've done this week?
No, but I did have the world's most challenging matching tattoos. They were essentially matching half sleeves.
What? No shit. Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I probably showed you a picture of the design. It's like a armored fox character guy
Oh.
riding a whale through a dark, stormy sea. And
No, actually, I don't think I've seen that one. That looks fun. Yeah, let me actually check. Excuse me, man. I'm not eating anything but fucking spinach and chicken broth right now.
nice.
Yeah, I got hiccups for days. Let's see, did you send me that one?
The people I tattooed it on tagged me in a side-by-side photo of it on Instagram.
So I did. I'm checking that out right now. I gotta see this because I know it's like those are always just they're so rough, dude. You know, like I hate doing matching tattoos if they're larger than like a playing card, you know.
Right.
As soon as it starts getting there, like every square inch larger that you get exponentially, it increases the fucking difficulty of that shit.
That was the thing. So like I thought that this was just going on one person, right? So I drew it and it's super complex and like just really ornate design. And then like 3 weeks before the appointment, the chick I was messaging was like, "Oh yeah, and my husband's gonna get the same tattoo." I was like, "What do you mean get the same tattoo?" She's like, "Well, this is gonna be a matching tattoo." And I
Oh
was just
man,
immediately like, "Fuck my life."
fuck. Yeah. Had you already sent over some of the artwork or anything or no?
Yeah, I sent everything over. So like the fully done image, I was like, "Here's the thing," and
Shit.
yeah,
Oh, dude. Man, that's rough. Oh wait, let's see. Oh yeah. Sorry, what's up with all this? What the fuck? You have a lot of people tagging you and stuff, and you have a weird
I don't know. I
tag.
never check it.
Yeah, your tagged stuff on Instagram. Somebody's asking for money under their own account, saying, "I
Nice.
work here. Give me some money." I don't know why. Some weird, kind of heavy set, bespectacled girl. And a whole lot of katana stuff. So, anyways, that's fucking cool. Yeah, send me a picture afterwards, dude. I actually like to see that. That'd be kind of interesting. That's just those matching tattoos are just rough. What's in the background? Is somebody watching a fucking?
Yeah, Cassie turned the TV on.
Oh,
There's like a million rooms around here with doors and all kinds of stuff.
It sounds like I'm hearing like David Attenborough talk or some shit.
Maybe I'll just change rooms here real quick.
I'm keeping this in the show. This is going to make the final cut for sure, dude. Oh my gosh. That's funny as fuck.
See if this becomes echoey and weird.
Yeah. At least Katana's been tagging all of her stuff in your fucking shop. That's good.
I've never actually looked and seen who tags me and what. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a million fucking things.
You got a lot of Mr. Jim tagging you.
Yeah, he tags me and messages me and all kinds of shit all the time.
Yeah, you guys are like fucking besties, bro.
Biggest thieves. No, when I first met Jim, I was like, this dude's gonna fucking hate me.
Oh, that's funny as hell, dude. I like him. I sent him a message. I was like, hey, we want to do the quarterly art review with Mr. Jim Foreman of the Art Collective Gallery. We want to start giving you some time to tell us, you know, what's going on in the art world and what's hip. Explain some art shit to us. Make our listeners more informed. He was like, yeah, it sounds great. I love to fucking do that.
Yeah, well, the first time I met him, right, I was like, oh man, he's in Arkansas. He might be like one of these strict Christian people and all this shit. I was like, I gotta be like, you know, like censor myself and all this shit. And then I drunkenly was in the gallery one night, just fucking ranting and raving about Van Gogh and all these assholes and all this shit and why they all suck. And like we clicked, but didn't agree, you know.
I got respect for you. I like your ideas. You're very opinionated, you know. He was a good dude, man. I thought that was great.
Once I found out he was from New York, I was just like, oh, we're gonna fine.
It's fine. Yeah, I've always found that, dude. If I'm like anyone from the East Coast, you're from PA, you're from fucking New York, anywhere, New England, I'm fine. It doesn't matter.
Right.
They got a different sensibility level than the rest of the fucking world, right? They don't get get hurt when you have an opinion.
It's my favorite type of people, you know?
Yeah, you'll walk around, you just be like, this is my idea, this is my opinion. And they automatically don't think that you're pushing it on them. That's great. You can just have an opinion. They'll look at you and be like, that's cool. Here's my opinion. And then they just say it. And you're like, oh, I don't fucking agree with you. I don't agree with you. Want to grab a beer? Yeah, that sounds great. I love that.
It's the way all conversations should just work.
Fucking like, should work, dude.
You don't have to agree on everything, right? Like, fuck, me and you talk all the time and we barely agree on anything.
We fucking never do. Like, this is my opinion. And we'll go for like an hour or two on something. And then it's like one of us is just like, all right, I'm actually too tired from this. Yeah, okay, cool. You know. Well, we're both too bullheaded to fucking back down. I could see us holding on to some of this shit for fucking weeks, dude. It's not fucking worth it right now. Also, I am drinking wine and not grape juice. I have not had a glass of wine in like a fucking, I guess since the last time that we actually like recorded. It's been a little while. So
I'm a huge fan of wine. I love port wine.
Port wine's amazing. Port. That's fucking rad, dude. That's because you're Irish. Yeah, buddy. That's how we do back home. Good old bottle of port. You start off with the $30 bottles of booze, work on down to that $7 bottle of port. End up in the dumpster.
I keep trying to tell Jim that he's got to buy some port wine, and we'll just get fucking winoed, shit faced. But no, I used to buy Taylor Fladgate all the time, and like Taylor Fladgate's $300 a bottle, but that's the best.
That's different. That's not, normal port,
Right, yeah. No, this is like collector series, best of the best fucking port wine.
Yeah.
But it's the best tasting shit you'll ever drink. It's just amazing.
Yeah. I've never actually heard of that stuff. I went on a big bender for a little while when I was just like single for the kids, just tattooing 7 days a week. I didn't have anything to do. I just like kept putting money in a fucking shoebox, right? And I got
Right.
like this shoebox full of $100 bills. I'm like, fuck, I feel like a drug dealer. Am I gonna go spend it on shit? So I just went out and bought like a bunch of really expensive wine. And it was cool. Man, that money evaporated really quick, man. I need to go out and buy well, I guess maybe 17 years from now when the babies are older, I can go buy a nice expensive bottle of port and see how that feels. As long as I'm not fucking dead by then, which that would be funny. So I've been occupying some of my time looking at Facebook because I just finally joined it because the podcast group, right? And I joined a couple groups on there like Tattoo Artists and Apprentice, Pacific Northwest Tattooers, stuff like that. And the apprentice stuff is just a bunch of at-home tattooers trying to get
Yeah.
information on how to fix stuff. Have you ever seen that group before?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of people tattooing on fake skin, putting out this stuff that they're just like shooting way above their fucking pay grade for this stuff, And they'll be like, "Oh, it's a fake skin. It took me 120 hours to finish this thing." So,
I was a member on there for like 3 days
yeah,
and then got kicked off the page. But same principle. These fuckers are just tattooing the hell out of silicone and all this shit. So I commented on one of them, and they were like, "What do you guys think I should do to like get a little better at this?" Blah blah blah. And I was like, "How about you just tattoo some fucking triangles, idiot?" So
oh,
they
that's
were just
pretty.
like immediately like, "What the fuck's that gonna? That's stupid. That's the worst advice anybody's ever told me." I was like, "It's not." I was like,
That's
"You can't
not.
tattoo for shit. If you just sit down and tattoo 200 fucking triangles, by the time you got to 200, you'd know how to fucking tattoo a straight line."
Yep, yep. How to avoid blowouts, line meets. This is such a good technical piece of advice, and people treated you like shit for having good
Right.
advice because you didn't say, "Oh, I love everything about you. Here, let me coddle your fucking wounds," because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't just like immediately go in trying to do this psycho fucking elaborate bullshit if you don't have any fundamental. It's fucking stupid.
Yeah,
Like the worst part about being self-taught is that there's no one to teach you that you have to learn fundamental,
yeah,
right? Like there's no one to just sit there and be like, don't waste your time with this ignorant shit. Waste your time with all these circles, straight lines, and squares.
yeah, yeah. Don't punch above your weight class.
Right.
Fundamentals are always, and I think it's maybe like that bridge when you start getting towards 20 fucking years in. It was like year 17 for me when I finally sat down to do a tattoo, and it was like a really technical tattoo, and I was like not worried, not stressed, not nothing. And I'm like, it's just a fucking tattoo. There's just nothing. You don't. Every line is the same. It's doesn't come down to like having to translate this piece and being an artist because you're not being a fucking artist on skin. You're literally just doing a tattoo. Like, can you color a Lisa Frank poster? You know?
So I had this kind of epiphany the other day. I did something. I don't remember what the fucking tattoo was, but Brooke was there and she saw it, and then she's like, "Oh, you make it look so easy, though." And my immediate response is, "It fucking is." And then I had to stop and think about that for a little while. I was like, "Is it easy or is it just easy now?"
Yeah,
You know? And then like, so there's that part of my brain that's like, everything that goes on in tattooing is easy. It's a really simple process.
it is really simple,
But
but
it's a simple process once you understand the process.
yeah,
So
that
developing your understanding is not easy. The process is easy.
that's it, dude. Yeah, because I think like, and I won't speak for you, but I can kind of make an assumption here that like early on in your career, you would do something and you'd fucking nail it. You just nail something, some simple technique, and it felt right. And then you kind of almost like you're chasing a drug. You chase that. You'll keep testing, trying to figure
Right.
out how it went to try and understand it. When realistically, then all you're doing is just getting in your own fucking way. Because if you just chill out and just do it again, just let the fucking mood take you, and slowly over time become adapted to it. You'll understand it through fucking progress instead of trying to search for whatever. It would just happen quick. I think that's like the key thing. It's like tattooing is really not that hard. It's not,
Right.
I gave Maria a 4 hour. She gave me a 4 hour tattoo. I gave her 30-minute instruction on how to do shit. No buffer. She's not an artist, nothing. I'm like, just do this. She did a fucking cover up on my leg. That is one of the best tattoos that I have. And
Nice.
and she just sat down and did it. I mean, she was a little rough in a few spaces, just fine. Just covering up my ex-wife's face on my leg, so that was good. But she just sat down and did it. I was like, do this, do this, do this, do this. Don't think about it too much. Just go. And she's like, okay, fine. And nailed it. And when she did that, that was like 6 or 7 years ago. Remember, it kind of like opened my eyes. I was like, this isn't that hard. Why am I making a big deal out of this?
That's essentially always it. And tattooing. And okay, so what makes tattooing hard, psychologically, right, is that we are so ingrained with the idea that tattooing is an art form. And it's not.
It's not. No.
Tattooing is a reproduction process, right? The art and all that shit happens somewhere else. It happens on a piece of paper or on your iPad or wherever the fuck. That's the artwork. Tattooing is just reproducing that, right? So, like, if you can just pick up a fucking Sharpie and trace over a drawing that's already drawn, you know how easy that fucking is. That's tattooing, right?
Yeah.
All you have to do is understand a step-by-step process to reproduce this shit that is elaborately drawn out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right? There's just certain stupid rules, tricks, tips, simple bullshit that you have to figure out along the way, and it just makes everything easy.
Yeah. And that was like missing, I think, from our generation when we came through, right? Because like people no one knew why you were doing what you were doing. They just knew how to do it. And so everyone always had these like get rich quick schemes almost, and how to become famous in tattooing with their seminars and all that shit. But it took like a long time to really pick through the why you're doing it. Now you don't have to, young people. You could just listen to us and we'll fucking tell you. It's not fucking hard. This is why. There is some science behind it if you want to know and listen to me travel on for hours, but it's not hard. The idea of like, if you can't draw it on paper, you can't tattoo it holds true. Like you can't punch above your weight class, right? So if you can't actually do it, then you shouldn't be able to do it as a tattoo. But at the same time, if you have enough of the techniques and you do understand why you're doing what you're doing, I could see you punching above your weight class because it's just a reproduction at that time. Maybe
even this weekend, I taught myself how to do dot work shading, but better than what I had done before, just by changing the angle of the machine when I did it.
Yeah, straight up and down, steeper angle. Which way do you
go? Way steeper angle and pushing forward. With the flick, like before I was more like, I don't know, 45-ish or something like that. Just kind of like the same way,
that shit,
right? The same way you would do some soft shading with black and gray. And I was like, this shit's just not working out. I was like, what happens if I just jam this shit into the skin? So, boom, big black dots everywhere. I was like, perfect.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
I remember trying to teach people how to whip shade. That was like one of the first techniques you learned, at least back in the day, right? Is how to whip shade. You plant and flick. That's it, right? And I see a lot of people not knowing what a whip or slash flick shade is anymore, but like that's just the easiest way to fucking create some dot work, right? And so, but instead of flicking out, you just run it forward. You just fucking, it's a steam train. You bury that motherfucker on the tracks and just go faster than that shit moves up and down. Your hand is moving forward, so it doesn't create a solid line. That's cool. I like the steepness though. You were like sub 45, like super low.
Yeah, real low. Slightly longer needle throw than typical. So like instead of your like 1.5 or 1.75, maybe like just a little bit more than 1.75, because at that point I'm trying to account for the plastic around the needle. Yeah. So just a hair out farther than what it probably should have been, and then pushing forward at a steep angle, and you get just super crisp black dots. I was like, this is fucking genius.
Yeah. That's super cool. Did you have to adjust your stretch at all? Or do you keep it super tight, loosen it up? Like,
usually just pretty tight.
Just
So
pretty tight. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I have this like weird visualization. I'm trying to come up with some mathematical equations to do this, but I always figured stretching is kind of like tuning a guitar, you know?
yeah, kind of.
So as you're like tightening the skin, it's almost like pulling tight on the guitar string, right? So the reverberations are going to become tighter, which is going to change the pitch of it. And the perfect oscillation based on machine speed is going to be your stretch, so that realistically when the needle hits, it's causing the skin to undulate down and come back up and meet the needle as it's coming back down. So it's always got this constant working together, right, rhythm.
If you're too loose with the dot work, you're gonna catch a snag.
Oh,
so you want tight skin.
That's funny as hell too. I love tenting where you see the skin just like you pinch your shirt and pull up. Oh, and it just like it's stuck. You're like, whoops. And then you stretch and goes, and it just pops out. All right, well, it works. Every once in a while, I'll do that.
Way back in the day,
just a little bit too long. Yeah.
Way back in the day, we used to have this shit that we called powder shading, right? And that's a term that nobody throws around anymore. But
no, they don't, do they?
This was like the specialized skill back in the day. If you can get your fucking mag to do absolute perfect gray shading, right, with your gray wash, and it just looks so fucking smooth and amazing, people would drool over that shit.
Yeah,
right?
dude.
Like the powder shading is so fucking good.
Shading. I haven't heard that in a long time, dude.
Yeah,
like,
but the
like
only
a
way
decade.
the only way you do it right is by having a kind of loose stretch on the skin, because it's got to have enough give on the skin to actually like let the needle softly hit the whole surface area. It's like counterintuitive to how we do a lot of other tattooing, but the softer the skin is, the softer the shading is that you're gonna get. It's pretty cool stuff. I'm still obsessed with it. So like when you go through my work, dude, you can. I always try to get the smoothest shading fucking possible.
Hell yeah, dude. You and I both. That's that picture I posted online with all that gray shading in the background. I did super quick. Same thing, dude. I'm changing based on like thickness, positioning on the body, like where the skin is at, how much tension I'm putting on it. So it's like constantly adapting to try and keep that same amount of just give, right? Because you're trying to control how far those fucking needles go in. So you're just getting those tips and they're moving quick. I had my black and gray coil machine is running like 165 cycles a second. It's fast, right? Yeah, pretty steep, and I'm just fucking single pass moving forward, gentle back, right? And just like 1/3 overlap, just kind of like waving, wanding back and forth, and it's just like smooth as shit. You reach a spot's a little bit different, like fuck, oops, got a little drag line on that one. If I can pick her up, do it again, and just blend out everything. I fucking love it when it looks like that. Love it. Yeah. It's so satisfying. So satisfying. I had to work a few years trying to figure that shit out because no one knew how to fucking do it. You know?
When I was first getting at it, I would always use 7 mags and 9 mags.
Yeah.
And like you have to try to nail smooth shading with your small mags and then switch up to a 13 to a 15 mag.
Yeah,
and you're gonna get the smoothest fucking shading on the planet.
Fucking world. It's crazy how that happens. Where I went from like a stack mag. I don't think that people even use those anymore, do they?
No.
No, Ryan, that's way too old school. Where I went from like a stack mag, and I went from like a 7 stack. It was just a fucking 4 flat, basically, with like, you know,
right
on top of it. I remember I was getting some really smooth powder shading on some of the work I was doing, and I jumped up to like a fucking 13, like just a 13 curve mag. I was like, rup, 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 just pass it back over the skin. It was so smooth. I felt like such a dipshit for trying for so many years to get this fucking 7 stack to work. Because I mean, it's like, I don't even know, it's a 1/8 of an inch thick or some shit. I'm trying to like blend out the sleeve with that stuff. Ugh, God, I felt like such a dipshit. You throw on that fucking 13, all of a sudden it's like,
that's all tattooing is in a nutshell. It's just feeling like an idiot 1 second and a genius the next second. Yeah. And then the next day when you go into the tattoo shop, you're just going to feel like an idiot at the start of the day. By the end of the day, you're going to feel like a genius because you just figured all that shit out again. And it's just a recurring process that happens throughout the years. And the more that it happens, right, the more of that genius shit you retain, and the
Yeah.
less you feel like an idiot. But you're
Yep.
still constantly feeling like an idiot just for new shit.
Yeah, that's why you don't specialize until way late down the road. Like, just keep
Right.
fucking trying stuff, right? If you sit down and you're just like, all I'm gonna do is peonies with fucking, what was that? Was it National Pink? What was the one pink that we used? Everyone used back in the fucking early aughts.
Oh, I don't know. I avoided shit like that.
Oh, you did? There was this one
Well,
baby
there's
pink that everyone. I never used the shit either, but I remember everyone was like, "That's just the pink." I think it was skin candy pink back in the day. Ugh,
everybody was nuts about skin candy.
ugh, that stuff is just.
But yeah, no,
horrible.
the start of my color work career, I avoided all bright colors, pinks, lime greens, bright yellows, etc.
No
I hated
shit.
it all. I just didn't like the way it looked in
Right
the
on.
skin. I
Yeah.
hated it. So I was like, in my brain, I viewed myself as the originator of dark, gross, muted fucking color because that's all I would ever fucking use.
Yeah.
I just wanted everything dark and like muted, aggressive.
Heavy. Yeah.
Right.
Fuck yeah.
Because I hated all that bright, colorful bullshit. But now I've turned the new leaf in my tattooing chapters, and I'm like, fuck it, let's just go as bright as possible.
Pendulum slings back the other way. It's like, this is just gonna be. I told you, every time I look at one of your tattoos, when you do it like your way, air quote around that, right? It always fills me with joy. And like, you're such a fucking dark, sardonic, just fucking, angry man. And then when you like do your tattoos, I'm like, that fills me with joy and hope for the future. It's fucking fantastic, dude. I'm like, he used orange so effectively in his stuff today. It was just so great. Baby pink throughout, you know what I mean? That was that moth piece too. I see like went from like a muted tone up to like this bright kind of like limeish green, but it was like a muted lime green. It was fucking rad, dude.
Yeah, she came in and I was like, sorry in advance. I told her all I brought with me ink wise was primary colors.
Nice.
I had to sit there for an hour and a half and pre-mix every single fucking color.
Hopefully you just have a whole bunch of like little number 9s like lined up and trying to fucking match them, right? Grab a big
Pretty much.
You did? Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fucking
I had to mix
rad, dude.
every single fucking color. And usually when I put out my inks, I'll do 3 variations of each color, dark, medium, and light. So not only am I making each color, but I have to make each variant of color.
Oh man.
But I told her ahead of time, I was like, it's going to take me like an hour to get through this. So just watch some TV or something.
That's great. And then forever for tattooing, because the uneven, I always like to call it marshmallow skin, because like if you figure you're trying to tattoo a marshmallow, right, if you stretch it too much, it just rips in half. But I don't know if that's quite right. I kind of seen like hyperkeratinosis. It looked like there was like texture to the skin, right? When you were working
some areas,
yeah. It was it looked rough. Did it bleed at all?
No, not really. Not a lot of weeping, not a lot of bleeding. Like I said, I tried to pay as much attention to the actual skin as I could, like spotting for irritation to see what was possibly going to be the worst case scenario there.
Yeah.
It wasn't too much of a horrifying situation, it was just a slow process, keeping an eye on everything and make sure everything went smooth.
Yeah, dude. I was gonna say, I think I remember the picture, and I think I made a comment to you too, like, that didn't take very long, did it? And you're like, no, it took fucking forever, bro. Because it wasn't even that red, right? Let me pull up that fucking picture right now. Man, we sent a lot of texts over the past fucking week. Jesus Christ. Was that? No, that's where I sent you that fucking eagle thing that I was working on. Woofa doofa. Yeah, dude. Like legit. Like let's let that focus in here. Ta-da. It's not gonna focus in at all, is it? There's like barely.
It's almost there.
It's almost there. There's like no redness. You can kind of even see through the graininess of this, right? Like there's like no redness in that. That was rad. It was just a good tattoo, man. That was a good tattoo. It was good palette. There's a fucking snail in it. Gee, I don't know why I just like kept thinking like there's no snail in that. It's just a fucking moth. No, there's a fucking snail in there. There's a good tattoo. That's a good tattoo. What did you line those leaves with? Was that with the brown?
Yeah, so along with everything else taking forever, I made sure that I outlined everything with their own individual color spectrums.
Jesus Christ. I was wondering if you gray lined it. I'm zooming in now and I'm like, there's no gray. Well, there's a couple gray lines in here, but there's not like a lot of this is just like that darker tone color offsetting everything else. Fuck me, dude. Those cherry blossoms out the bottom are red too. I didn't actually look this close at it before. A little bit of bruising up by the armpit, loose skin, stretch marks and stuff too. It's not that stressed out. That's rad, dude. Really rad. And this person just had, it looks like, a couple skin tags removed as well. That's crazy. Like you nailed it, bro. This is rad. Cut out the long pauses. That's so fucking cool, dude. That gradation coming off the bottom of the stems and slowly lightening as it gets up towards the top. That is so technically fucking difficult to do, dude.
Everything's done with a 7 mag.
The whole, and
The
you
whole
said it
thing.
was like small. It's
Yeah.
like hand, like palm sized, hand, like hand sized, right? That's fucking wild. And how was this person at the end? Just floored, super happy.
Oh yeah, she
Yeah.
loves the tattoo.
Yeah, that's fucking cool, dude. That fiddlehead is legit. The overlap that you have with that stuff too, the contrast, and they're so close. The tones coming off of this like weird integumentary like matching from the yellow off the fern towards the fiddlehead. The overlap where it's like the super light green, kind of like a pale ochre, overlapping is just enough to make it stand out at the distance, which is fucking rad. When you zoom in and it just like melts together, that's so cool. Hell, the white well, light pink's fucking rad. The white held really well on this though. Oh, and I can see the 7 mag now, and the wings of the fucking moth. I see your fucking drag sculpt like that fucking rolling line where you're rolling your machine as you're coming around the fucking edge. That's rad, dude. Super cool. You lined it with a 3?
Bug pin 5
Bug pin
and
5.
bug pin 3s. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. That's super cool. Oh yeah, I can see the I see a couple of black lines. So. That's cool, dude. There's a funny thing when you look at a good tattoo, as a person who likes to look at tattoos and judge them. I know that you and I both do this. We judge shit every fucking day.
Right.
All day. Anytime we go on social media, I'm like, shit. That's all right. This shit, And when you look at something like this, it's just like it's a weird gut feeling where you're like, this is going to heal up and this is going to look really fucking cool. It's just done, right? 5 years down the road, when this softens and lightens up a little bit, this is going to be so cool. This tattoo is going to be so, like, even more so. It's going to be beautiful, right?
Told her to make sure she sends me a picture of it in like 3 weeks from now, and then afterwards, I'm just gonna bug her like a year from now and be like, "Let me see that tattoo."
This turned out really well. It's like a fundamental tattoo. Like everything in that is like really strong art fundamentals, layout fundamentals, it's compositional, right? Like technical fundamentals with like needles and stuff like this. Like you can tell, like it's just a good tattoo, man. It's fucking rad.
Just make tattoos as complicated as you can for yourself.
Where you start feeling like a fucking idiot, and then you fucking come up to it and you feel like a genius by the end.
Right. That's how it's. We should call it exercising.
Yeah.
Right. Designing tattoos to where the moment you start the tattoo, the only thought in your head is "fuck." And then you got to hold that feeling until the very last fucking bit of the tattoo.
Yeah.
When you can give a big ass sigh of relief. And if you nailed it at the end of the tattoo, right, like then you taught yourself something. You exercised your tattoo fundamental.
Holy shit. I have that. It's the lady I'm doing that watercolor biomech on. She sent me an updated healed pic, 8 weeks out. It looks fucking cool, dude. But I remember I was doing the color, and after talking with you two, you got in my fucking head. Like, that's awful dark. Like, it's fine. And you're like, that's awful dark. We'll see what it looks like when it's healed out. I seen that 8 weeks out, dude. Everything settled really well. I think I got really lucky with the tones and stuff. I remember when I started the color, because you're in the back of my head, I'm like, I'm gonna fuck this up. I'm stressed. And like 4 hours later, right? Like we're closing up the session, and I was doing like this like really like light mauve kind of like blend over top of some of the like mid-tone purples and stuff. Just working through some things, and then a little bit of magenta. Remember when I got to the magenta, I was like fucking nailed it. I was like, I can't wait to show that motherfucker what I just did. But I don't know how I did it too, but I totally put myself in the fucking bag with that one, dude, because doing up the artwork, I mean, both of us were talking for a few weeks. You're just like, that doesn't make any fucking sense. How are you going to do that? I'm like, I don't
know. Wing it. Hope for the best.
Wing it. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Before we go to our fucking end of show timing here, we go to our break because we'll do 2 in a row. Do you remember your best wing it moment?
Barely remember what I did yesterday. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah. Dude, me neither. I don't. I have no idea. I could probably think of like 1,000 tattoos that I've done. Which we did the math, and I'm thinking if I had done all the different street shops, custom shops, whatever, over the past 20 years, I've tattooed nearly, I don't know, was it like 65,000 people?
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Yeah.
I think on average, if you're working full time as a tattoo artist, it's really easy to get close to like 5,000 people plus a year. So
yeah. I was working 2 days a week last year, and I did 800 tattoos. So yeah, dude, like, and mine were not small. I wasn't just doing jammers. Right. Like mine were all mid-sized stuff. So I think if I was doing jammers, I could do like 10 to 20 tattoos in a day if I was just doing a walk-in street shop. Easy.
Right.
Yeah. I think on average it would be like around 13 to 15 a day. So it's doing that 7 days a week. Oh fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, 5,000 tattoos a year. Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
It's kind of mind blowing to think about, but like that number fucking gets up there. You tattoo a lot of fucking people in a year. You don't realize it because you're just throwing it off your fucking shoulder at the end of the day anyway. But yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, my goal was to get to 100 tattoos this year. That's it, just 100. And luckily enough, I've been sick enough that I've been able to pull that off so far. So
but that's why I always compare tattooing to a lot of other art career fields where like people don't really understand how fucking demanding tattooing can actually be for people.
Oh, yeah, dude.
The amount of shit that we do, like just in consultation for people, then drawing for people, then physically tattooing people, scheduling people, fucking all this other shit, everything. Conventions, etc. Everything that we do is 10 times more fucking work than anything that anybody else actually does in any specified art career.
Yeah.
So the idea that people are like, well, I don't like my art job. Maybe I'll try tattooing. Like, are you fucking serious?
I know a dude through the grapevine who was like a really great was like artist, computer generated, whatever, graphic artist or whatever. He's like, I don't like this shit. It's just too demanding. I want to go get into tattooing. Went, did tattoo school in Oregon, started tattooing, lasted like less than a year, right back over. Couldn't handle it. I want to do what I want to do. That's not tattooing, guys. Like, think about an art career and then put the demand on steroids. You're still doing everything that everyone else wants you to do. You don't have any freedom. Especially your first 5 years.
If you focus drawing your own specific artwork every single fucking day, posting that shit constantly, pushing it out as hard as you fucking can, then eventually you're going to be doing your own shit. But eventually you're forced to do all of that shit that you were pushing out.
Want to do, yeah.
And you're not going to want to do it anymore.
At minimum
you're gonna get
5
fucking
years.
sick of it.
Minimum 5 years. That's a bare minimum when you start. Let's say you're past the apprenticeship, you're actually working. That's when you start. 5 years from then, you may start getting the chance to do your own shit if you want to fucking eat. You got to do everything else because you're never even going to be able to progress. You won't be able
You
to
know,
learn, get better. Fuck.
I still like. Just the other day, I spent like 6 hours on a fucking tattoo, and then there was a couple of walk-ins coming into the shop. They didn't get done by the other artists in the shop, and I was like, "Fuck it, dude! Like, let's just do it. I'll
Yeah.
take this money all fucking day long and do a fucking 30-minute tattoo, crush
Yeah.
it."
Those are the best, dude. Yeah.
Right. But it drives me up a fucking wall hearing people complain about that kind of shit too. At the same time, like, what the fuck are you complaining about? You can draw it in 5 fucking minutes. You can tattoo it in fucking 20 minutes. You
Yeah.
can make 200 fucking bucks
Yeah.
off
Nothing.
this simplest fucking thing possible.
Yeah. You can
It's
make
just
that
mind-blowing.
person's day. You can get them exactly what they want. This is the fast fashion of tattooing. They're coming in. They want to get this stuff. They don't want any thoughts. They've already made up their fucking mind. You don't have to consult with them. You don't have to think. You just literally have to do your job. That's it. Just do your job.
Right. Just fucking do it. It's too easy.
Yeah.
Right?
Do
Stop
it.
complaining about it.
Make
If you
it good.
wanted to be a fucking tattoo artist and then you're complaining about the fact that you have to be a fucking tattoo artist, you're a fucking asshole. There's no other way around it. Just stop being a fucking asshole. I mean, it's one thing if you're like, hey, I don't know how to do this shit.
Yeah.
Right? Then by all means, that's excusable.
Yeah.
Right.
Totally.
But focus on fucking learning how to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you do know how to do this shit and you're just bitching and complaining because you don't want to do this shit or you're too lazy to do the fucking shit or any of the above, why the fuck are you still tattooing?
Quit. Like
Right?
it's,
Yeah.
It's just not like go
Paint some fucking pictures and start an Etsy account.
Yeah.
Poser.
Just go do that. Go get a job at Macker's. You know, I hear they pay managers 6 figures. Like, just go do something else. This job is really demanding. It doesn't give you anything back. You always have to give. It's an infinite fucking black hole of necessity on the opposite side. You know?
Right.
And you
The only
really
thing you
have
get
to love
back
this
is
to
the
do it.
luxury to pay your bills.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And if you're really good, you can when I say really good, and I know that's like both of us went one side and went, nah, fuck them. Because it's not. Really good are those regional artists who just command respect that are quiet, right? Dudes like Larry Brogan. Larry Brogan's just been tattooing for fucking ever. He's in fucking Illinois. The dude just super short, quiet spoken, just nice, gentle dude, slays everything, right? Just fucking kills. No one knows about him. Why? Because he's really fucking good and he pays his bills. That's it. You're not going to have some Stefano or fucking Carlos Torres or whatever. It's a 1 in a million, you know?
right.
We still only tattoo like what, a handful of tattoos a year? Nah, that's not how it is. The whole time we've been talking, I've been molding a dick and balls out of my fucking gummy eraser.
Nice.
Anyways, final thoughts on that, Brian?
Just think it's really important for people to chill the fuck out and get back to the reality of what, tattooing actually was. Stop trying to turn this shit into your pampered weirdo little career and be a fucking tattoo artist, right?
Yeah.
Show up fucking early, mop the fucking floor, clean your shit, have a little pride in your fucking tattoo shop. Do all the small fucking tattoos that you bitch and complain about during the day. Just fucking do it and have fun doing it.
Have
That was
a
the whole
smile on
goal.
your face. Yeah. Fuck. It's me aggro, bro. And it's not even like gatekeeping, like we did this and you need to do it too. It's not that. It's just like I know from my side, like I remember going through a phase where I was like, fuck this shit, and I thought I was special and all stuff. And when I finally got my ego handed to me on a fucking nice silver platter and almost made me quit this fucking job, I had to fucking humble, which is so stupid and cliched now. Get humble. I'm gonna go do yoga. It's not how it fucking is, right? Like I really had to take stock of this. Like, what am I trying to get out of this and what am I putting in? Because there's an imbalance. Right. No one owes you shit. You got fucking 5 million followers on TikTok. You're not special. All you got is a bunch of crazy old fucking dudes somewhere looking at you, wanting to touch you. Doesn't mean your
TikTok
tattoos
is
are good.
essentially the creepiest fucking thing I've ever
It's
seen.
so fucking creepy, dude. I put out 2 of our videos, 3 of them on our TikTok. We got like 12,500 fucking views in a day. I said this is evil.
I love it even more the fact that anybody watching that shit is seeing the shit so out of context. They have no idea what's going on. They're just like, what the fuck is this randomness?
Who are these fucking guys? Oh wow, they said some stuff about jerking off a hippo. We're gonna try this the second time because Ryan didn't fucking record the first time we did this, and it was goddamn radio gold. Because I suck. That's all right. I'm out of red wine, so I mixed a little bit of red wine with white wine. So now I have like a dark rosé.
Ah, there you go.
I haven't drank in fucking like what, a month, something like
I have water. It's flavored like nothing, but then when I mix it with other water, it's still flavored like nothing.
So I got my life water right now. pH 9.9. 9.5, 9.5. Life water gives you life because that's water. No, people, we're not 90% water. No, that's not right. Anyways. All right. So listener questions. I hated it when people say we're like 95% water. No, we're fucking not.
Right.
No.
You're about 95% carbon.
You're about 95% bullshit. Yeah. A whole bunch of carbon all strung together. There's a lot of proteins in here, amino acids.
Fun fact. Same thing a tree's made out of.
We just don't have a cell wall. Otherwise, we grafted limbs on our arms and just being metal as fuck. Look at me, I'm part Cypress today. Anyways. All right, first listener question. And we'll remember this because we were already done it once. We're cleaning and fixing pools in the sun 10 hours a day. I'm worried about the sweat getting on my tattoo or other chemicals. I'm kind of scared about what's going to happen. I'm going to get the tattoo in a couple weeks. What can I do?
Take the goddamn week off after you get your tattoo.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So like it's just common sense, right? Like you can't submerge your tattoo, right? Sweating won't actually hurt your tattoo. Sweating comes from your body. It's generally sterile. It's not full of germs and psycho shit, right? It's not going to do anything to your tattoo. But if you're profusely sweating for hours on fucking end because you're standing out in the sun because that's your job, that's what you decided to do, that's too much. It's keeping the tattoo way too wet. And it's going to get slimy and fucking weird and gross and disgusting. And that's just not a good scenario.
Yeah. This is something we actually didn't cover in the first fucking take that didn't record in this. But what do you recommend to people who are going to be going out and doing something like this? Like they don't have a choice. They can't take the time off. They haven't allocated this in their budget. What do you tell them to do at work?
Pray to whatever god it is they worship.
Oh, that's fucking great, dude. I love the fucking humor on this one. So one thing you can do, especially if you're a pool person, right? You got to worry about the chemicals, all the stuff in the air. You can bring some potable water with you to work, right? Potable does not mean that it's just water from the fucking hose in the backyard of Mrs. Davis's back pool area. This is stuff that you could fucking drink. You don't have to worry about being dirty, right? If you're worried about getting dirty and a bunch of shit getting onto it, you don't have to wash your tattoo when you're at work. You can rinse it off. Just get like a jug, nice potable water, clean stuff that you would normally wash with at home. Keep it in there. Keep it relatively cool, not too hot. You get out there, you've got a really busy day. Let's say you're a landscaper or something like that. You get a bunch of like dirt, caught in the hairs on your arm or even on the tattoo and stuff. You don't have to wash it. You can just rinse it off.
Yeah.
Just run some water over top of
it.
Go
to like a sporting goods store. You can buy those fucking arm sleeves.
Yeah.
Right. Just buy one, put it over your tattoo gently. Don't just fucking rake it over top of that motherfucker as hard as you can. But it'll help keep debris and exterior bullshit off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But once again, if you're profusely just sweating like fucking crazy, you don't want that on your tattoo because that's going to retain moisture and hold it on top of your tattoo. And that's not good for it either.
Yeah. Unless you have a lot of changes through it. We have one recommendation that we used to do is the socks. Take like a soccer sock, tube sock, cut the toe out. You turn it inside out, so you have the little fingerlings on the inside that wick moisture away, right? You flip it out, you have a smooth side against your tattoo. If you have like 5 or 6 of those and you work a dirty job, you can change them multiple times through the day, and you can let it air out in between your changes. Kind of works. As it gets super dirty,
as far as like
shit off.
chemicals and psycho shit, like
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you, but like don't get the shit on your arm.
Don't take the bleach tab and rub it on your tattoo. Right?
It's probably not gonna end well.
You imagine that? I'm just gonna do a water chlorination test on this thing. Hang on, let me dip my little fucking 5-meter stick into this. Hang on, let me just warm this up on my tatty. Fucking like, it's just common sense. Just don't rub shit on your fucking tattoo. We're actually getting through this a little bit faster than we did last time, dude. This is pretty cool. We're also not going to take 35 minutes looking for that dude's name. In fact, I'm going to skip that question.
Nice.
Oh man, that's great. There we go. Oh, here's a good one. Okay, why do people use Vaseline or A&D when they do a tattoo? I didn't do that one last. I totally skipped over it. So,
well, we could answer this scientifically and mention hydrophobic solutions and bullshit, etc. But we could also just say because we fucking do.
That's the best fucking answer that we ever given. I know I want to normally like throw in science on this. I think we'll move on. That's just good radio. Like, I don't fucking know. Just because we fucking do. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Ashley Stack. We haven't said a name here, but thank you, Ashley, for that question. Dr. Brian is in the office right now and he's answering your stuff. This is fucking great, dude. Okay. Oh, here's one that we skipped over too. I'm wondering if the principle of rule of thirds that's used in artwork is it applicable to tattooing?
Seeing as art is 90% of the job, I would say yes.
Dude, I'm gonna get that fucking sound effect like of Law and Order, dun 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 dun, dun, and I'm gonna put that in there because I think that that's fucking great.
I guess I just don't understand the severity of your question. Right. So
let's think about the rule of thirds. Like, because there's multiple rules of thirds in tattooing. So I'm thinking like photography.
Well, even in art.
And art, yeah, totally. Yeah.
But
so what are the rule of thirds for the lay people who may not know?
Well, okay, so like let's just talk about tattooing, right? Let's skip the bullshit. There's some really simple shit that'll go into that, right? So like your rule of thirds could be 1/3 black, 1/3 open skin, 1/3 color or shading, right?
Yeah.
So that's a really rooted baseline idea of your rule of thirds. So that's obviously from art and goes directly in correlation to tattooing, right?
Yeah.
So the premise of the question is just bizarre to me. Without that, like that really generic rule, you're not going to make very compelling artwork, right?
Yeah.
Like it's going to fall pretty
contrast.
flat.
Yeah. You need enough black in an image, and I think this is something like with, and we'll talk about Ink Master later on next month, but this is something that kept pushing is the idea of contrast on that show, and I think a lot of people don't really know what it means. A lot of people think it just means more black in the image that's going to show something, right?
Well, this is like if we get into a more advanced idea of the rule of thirds, your rule of thirds can then switch from 1/3 high contrast, 1/3 low contrast, 1/3 zero contrast, right? So
that's good. That's like Wheaties. That's a breakfast of champions right there. Hell yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways that you can play on the concept of rule of thirds, and it's always going to be applicable to tattooing. So yes, just yes, just that's the answer.
uh so, and I don't know if I'm reaching for this one, but we'll take the rule of thirds is the 3x3 grid as well.
Right,
When
there's
you're
that
doing like
too.
photography and stuff. Yeah, where you're trying to find things that align on a central median or like longitudinal latitudinal line for the focal points that you're like framing things. And yeah, that can work in tattooing as well, but it's a 3D surface and it works differently when you're going from a 2D plane to a 3D plane where things don't really align quite the same, right? Because as soon as you take something, let's say a perfectly mapped, rule of thirds photograph, and you wrap it around someone's forearm, it doesn't share the same thing. It doesn't have the same properties, right? Because you have different viewability and angles. You have the inside, outside, front, and back. You have like 4 different distinct planes these things have to exist on, and it doesn't apply the same way. So in that way, I could say that maybe it couldn't apply, but if you're thinking about focal points and areas of the body that are going to be topographically closer to an individual versus not, if you're aligning your rule of thirds in there, than it can, that's like some really technical shit that probably is left better for an in-person consultation
Yes,
rather than try to describe it over a fucking podcast, right?
there's
uh
so many ways that you can break down that
a
terminology,
third, a third.
right?
Yeah.
Like even cinematography, when you're looking at your television, right, just watching any general TV show, they have a lower third, middle, and an upper,
Upper third. Yeah.
and that's just
Third
referring.
foreground, third midground, third background. There's like such complexity in this shit, right?
Right. There's so many different ways that that reads out. So you'd have to have a way more specific question to get a far more specific answer, but the answer is still going to be yes. It's applicable.
That's fantastic. Dr. Brian's in the room. We should have a live calling
That'd
thing.
be
We got to do a
genius.
live stream sometime. We got to do
I'm
that
totally
sometime,
down.
dude. We'll put it on like what's that? Instagram, fucking TV, YouTube, whatever. Yeah, we should totally fucking stream sometime. Dude, we should get a Twitch one. We should do a Twitch stream once a month. Come on in.
I think I have a Twitch account, so we
Do
could do
you?
that.
Fucking done.
I signed
Dude.
on
That's
for a
absolutely
Twitch
great.
account because it gave me discounts and unlockable characters for my Apex Legends game.
Oh, that's fucking great, dude. Hell yeah. Here's a comment. It's not a question. The contents of your show should be part of a tattoo class from Harvard. If there was a tattoo course, of course. Ha ha ha. You just opened my mind to how I should see the body as a tattooer. Thank you very much. That was a good
You're welcome.
response.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, dude. That was actually really cool, man. I got past the question about tattooing a foot and should I sit on the fucking ground, which was part of the last 2 weeks ago's questions about that stuff. If you haven't heard about us talking about tattooing dead pigs, go back and listen to the last published episode because oh my god, Brian slays in that. Ah, man. Okay. So this one we're gonna go back to the last 2 questions from Jesse. I think we had one more after that. We're gonna go this. Okay, so interesting question. I had a client yesterday that had a reaction. I was tattooing the under/inner part of the bicep, and they had a bit of a breakout on the area after being worked on. I'm wondering if it's perhaps due to the use of green soap not being properly diluted, or maybe I didn't use the proper type of distilled water. It's almost like they had a medium type of abrasion or rash that's going on there. What do you think's going on, Dr. Brian?
That's just dermatitis. Okay. Generally speaking, dermatitis is a loose term used for a huge array of bullshit. If you get a rash from touching poison ivy, guess what? That's dermatitis. If you get a rash from fucking laundry detergent, that's dermatitis. It just means that your skin is irritated. Generally presents itself in the form of small little red bumps. It gets all over the fucking place. It can sometimes be itchy depending on how severe the dermatitis gets, but more likely than not, it's totally harmless and it'll go away on its own. Chances are it wasn't from green soap. You could literally just pour green soap directly in your hands and scrub your fucking hands with it. It's not going to do anything to you. Don't do it very often, but you could do it. It's more than likely.
If you have an allergy to lavender, stay away from it. It's a little bit in there.
More than likely, it was something exterior, probably too much laundry detergent on their shirt, or they were using a cream or lotion that's been used previously in the past and was just dirty and gross. Sometimes that's how people get contact dermatitis. Um, Whatever it was, as long as it's gone away by now, you know, you can just chalk it up to a fluke.
That totally works. Think about the environment. Think about the time of year. Is it too hot? Do you have a heat rash? Are you thinking of it as dermatitis? And think about this, the root word of dermatitis, derm, means skin, and itis means inflammation of,
Right.
right? So it's just inflamed skin. If you have any questions about what's going on, what's the best practice, Dr. Brian?
Just go see a fucking doctor. Stop bothering your tattoo artist.
Tattooers aren't fucking doctors.
Right. We cannot
We said
legally
this
give
last time.
medical advice. We don't have enough
No.
lawyers to back us up if we do give medical advice. We're not part of the health board. Just go see your doctor. They're going to give you a far better answer. Chances are I would probably give the same answer, but I just legally can't.
We can't. Well, and so one half of us isn't part of the health board, but
This is true. Okay, well,
I
call Ryan.
I still don't give advice. Yeah, call me. Fuck, don't call me. I posted our phone number actually on the website for the hosting of the thing. I actually got some phone calls. I had a phone call from a young lady in Texas. Maybe this is like kind of a good segue to get out of this shit. She called. She got permanent cosmetics done, microblading done on her eyelashes, and they had ended up melting the skin.
You
off
told me
of her
about
face.
this.
Yeah, man. And after that conversation, which I spent like a couple hours talking to her, trying to get her calmed down, I deleted the phone number off that. So if you can find me, don't dox me. But yeah, you can send me a text.
So another good thing going into that would be like, okay, if you're asking us questions about the skin conditions, that's just telling us that you don't know how to identify skin conditions.
Absolutely.
And what you should absolutely do right now is go online and take a course in how to identify skin conditions so that you can actually know the differences between these things, right? Because if you're just going to say that the skin broke out, it's kind of bumpy, that doesn't actually give us a whole lot of information to go off of. So we're not giving you probably the best advice here. I'm giving you a generalized estimate of advice based on the information that you've provided, right? If you can tell the difference between pustules, papules, et cetera, then you can give a far more direct question and we can give far more direct advice.
Yeah. Everything's going to be hyperbolic beforehand, right? If you don't know what you're actually talking about. That's a really good point, dude. I'm glad that we re-recorded this because that's like a really good disclaimer to put in there. If you send us shitty information, we can't give you a really good answer. That's what it comes down to. We're going to have to create something in our imagination, but Brian and I are both fucking scientists, right? So what we're going to do is try to remove our bias and look at it naturally. Like, what actually are you telling us? You're not telling us a whole fucking lot. We can come up with supposeds, possiblies, but it's not actually going to fix the thing that's going on. And more than likely, because this is tattooing, if something's gone wrong, it's your fault. So
also,
go educate yourself.
For the listeners that aren't tattoo artists, I said this before. You have like a week window when you get your tattoo, right? Within that first 2 to 3 days, if symptoms start to arise on your tattoo, right, they're generally speaking going to start off as bumps, but then you have to keep an eye on that. If the bumps don't get worse and they just kind of sit there, chances are it's dermatitis. If there's small little red bumps, right, there might not be a whole lot going on there. If there's small little white bumps, there's an issue there, right? If there's small bumps that get larger within the course of that week, there's an issue there. Go see a doctor.
There's a big issue there. Yeah, this is the idea between productive and non-productive.
Right. So
absolutely,
you have a window of time to keep an eye on the tattoo, see what it's doing, and then go see a doctor when you need a doctor. If everything just continues to get worse, get bigger, etc., go see a doctor. Don't go to your tattoo artist. If they're an intelligent tattoo artist, they're going to tell you to go see a doctor. That's just how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Scary shit to be aware of is if your tattoo gets really, really fucking hot to the touch, if it's really incredibly sore to the touch after a couple of days, if you see an immense amount of irritation around the skin, really dark, almost purpley, etc., go see a doctor. Right?
Go
That's
see a
just it.
doctor. It's just easier just to fall on that fucking medical malpractice insurance than it is on most tattooers in the United States or Western world who have zero liability coverage,
Right.
which is really frightening.
The doctor's
And
going
as
to check
well,
it out. They're going to give you steroids or antibiotics and just send you back on your way. It takes maybe an
be good to
hour.
go. Yeah. So most people know in at least, and I don't know if the number is right, but I'm thinking about 50% of the states, there's zero regulation on tattooing.
Right.
There's nothing. You don't need to have an apprenticeship. You don't need to have any type of training. All you need on average is a bloodborne pathogen certificate, which you can get for $5 online in 15 minutes and to pay the fee to have a site inspected. That's it. So if you're thinking that because someone is licensed, that means that they're going to be a professional, those two things are completely distant and separate of each other, right? So if you're getting advice from somebody that you wouldn't trust to fix your car, maybe install carpet in your house, maybe, I don't know, unload groceries onto your front yard, go see a fucking doctor. It's just smarter. It's your fucking life. You end up with sepsis, you will die.
So many people hate doctors. It's mind-boggling. Like, I get it. Sometimes they're pricks, and sometimes they're fucking useless. But any doctor is going to be able to look right at your skin and almost immediately tell you what's going on with it.
Yep. And even if they have a question, they're going to have the fucking rights, responsibilities, and ability to write you a fucking prescription.
Right.
Tattooers can't. They're going to tell you to go and put some calendula oil on that shit from like Vaseline or shit.
Just
That's
rub
not
some
going to
dirt
heal
on it.
anything.
It'll be fine.
Fuck. It's fine. Maybe you'll pick up a good thing that'll help with it. Maybe the majestic earth goddess is going to like shine down on you. Who knows? I don't know. I'm all about allopathy personally. So if I think that I've got sepsis, I prefer to have some type of penicillin derivative than dirt.
Eat a box of Kellogg's, hope for the best.
Put them Wheaties in that mix. Oh, that's fucking great, dude. You got sepsis. Just get some Cheerios. You'll be fucking fine. That's like what the doctor told me.
There's science here. All right. The original Kellogg's Flakes, right, that was created as a breakfast cereal, was made using mold.
And it was to make sure you wouldn't keep masturbating. So that's fun because Puritanism works. As long as you eat a bland diet, you'll be closer to Jesus, people. Trust me. We're both Irish. We're Catholic, lapsed. This is what works.
Well, how Kellogg's went straight to Catholics and Irish.
Straight to Catholics. You can't get any more fucking Irish than Kellogg's breakfast cereals, my man. Fuck me. All right, let's hit the next question here because I know last time we did this was fucking choice. And I wonder if you can guess what this is. But Jesse asked another question. Jesse's a good guy. I actually know him. He works up in Montreal. A young guy, super cool, really into learning. You know, started off with the standard apprenticeship that you could get in tattooing. It's like the one that we had, right? He went and worked at the shop with these guys who've been working 20, 30 years. They know, air quotes around this, everything, right? And 2 years in, he's starting to do tattoos, and like every other one is great or a shit box. And he's like, what am I doing wrong? And they said, you need to change your brand of needles. Or you need to change your ink. Your tube's not right. Your machine's not right. It's never like you don't know how to fucking tattoo, bro. It's just the brands are not agreeing with you. The brand gods. Anyways, Jesse's awesome. Anyways, I hope he's listening to this. So Jesse asks us, can you use different ink brands in the same tattoo?
When you use different ink brands, a chemical combination happens that causes the ink to be explosive under the surface of the skin.
This is so much better than our first take. Oh, if you don't know that sarcasm, oh my god. Yeah, of course you can. Where do you think the ink's made? Mars? Of course. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. You can mix shit all you want. If you listen to the first part of the show, you can hear Brian talking about how he custom made all of his stuff
Right.
for a tattoo. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Yeah, use whatever fucking brands of ink that you want to. If you like a yellow from one brand, you like the red from another brand, just fucking use them. You know, things that could help you out later on would be if you're using different ink brands and tattoos, um, just take a picture of the tattoo, pull it up on your fucking iPad, and then make a list of what ink is used in what spots. So when you see that tattoo healed, you can see the differences, if there is any, as to how those different ink brands might have healed up in the same tattoo. It'll be a good side by side comparison for you to use later on in your career.
Yep.
But there's nothing
built that.
crazy or harmful or weird that's going to happen if you use different ink brands in a tattoo.
Nah. I just build that ontology, right? Like, get your stuff. If you know somebody from a certain genetic background, health background, age, whatever is going to take one color versus other, all you're going to do is just start being able to identify your clients more effectively, to know what products to use on them in the future. Now, I'd say like 20 years ago, like when we first started tattooing, there was like a properly different palettes that you could get. Right? You could have these CMYK palettes, RGB palettes, and they would affect different results in the body, right? And still, like, some of the powder pigments that you find may fall into this thing. So when you mix them, you're going to get a different result. Like a digital, as I like to call it, digital color palette, CMYK palette. If I mix a yellow and a red together, I'm not going to get an orange. I'm going to get a pink, right? Or a light red. That's because it's going to be affecting stuff differently inside there, because the actual pigments that are being used are from a different source. So sometimes you can have an RGB, or simple red, green, blue color palette mixed with the CMYK that's going to give you a really awkward result. But for the most part, these pigments are almost interchangeable now. It's 2022. Like, shit just mixes.
I specifically use that
special from before
to my advantage when I'm setting up color palettes, so that I can get unique colors that you're not going to find.
Yeah. I remember it was Carlton used to do that a lot, right? He'd say he'd always save a small bottle of custom mixed pigment for each person he would work with. We might have to cut that out. I don't know if he actually did that, but I never hear him talking about it. He's like, that's special for everyone.
Some people are just strange and do strange things. It's
cool. I'm totally keeping this in the show. Oh, fuck it. Whatever.
We're definitely gonna have to cut that.
We're gonna have to cut that. No names. I'll just put a beep. I'll put the. You got to listen to the last episode, bro. I know you haven't listened to it. You got to listen to it, because it's just, especially when you get an answering listener questions at the end. You got to. We're gonna get sued by NBC Universal for sure. Oh, here we go. Okay.
Bring it.
This is a good question. We didn't do this last time. All right. Thank you for all the talks you've had so far. I stumbled across your podcast. I've read both your websites about stuff, and I've looked at your social media. What's getting me confused is when you guys talk about running the needle against the back of the tube. This is actually
the fuck's
good.
Confusing about that?
It makes sense for me, but I always see other people on social media, especially YouTube, pulling the line backwards against the tube, no matter what. Is there any difference when you're doing this between coils and rotaries? Should you only push or pull with one versus the other? I'm personally using a Mickey Sharp's coil machine, and since I've been listening to your show, I've been struggling all over the place. I'm always using a 9 round liner. That's really bad English. I'm sorry, people, but this is how it's written. Could it be because I'm not accustomed to doing it that way that I need to practice more? Or what am I doing wrong? I don't understand. Help.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't know why I didn't fucking pick this up last time we recorded.
All right, so here's another case of not necessarily giving us enough information. Are you using steel tubes? Are you using disposable tubes? Are you using weak ass black disposable tubes? Are you using clear disposable tubes that are super strong? At the same time, you know, there's the matter of like, how far are you yarding your fucking needle out of the tube? Are you tubing the needle? There's so many things that you haven't answered yet. So
many.
But at the same time, when we're talking about keeping the needle at the back of the tube, what we're saying is that when you're holding your tattoo machine, the ink well on your tube faces forward, and you push the inkwell forward when you do a line that keeps the needle securely at the back of your tube, especially if that tube has a large enough opening for your needle to have a lot of room to play around and jiggle around. So, in the instance that I want to pull a line towards me, I will spin the entire machine around so the opening of the inkwell is facing towards me and pull my line directionally towards me. I will not pull my machine backwards while the inkwell faces away from me because that picks the needle up off of the back of the tube and allows it to have play. Um,
Really good fucking answer. That's like the best way that we can put it. Like it's not hard science. Having the needle against the back of the tube is going to decrease the amount of pigment that flows out of your reservoir. It's going to make it steady, constant.
right.
Gravity isn't going to play as much with this. It's going to focus more on that reciprocating motion of the needle moving up and down. Now, can you imagine there's a big well and you move the gap, that finger that's stopping that wall from collapsing, that dam that's plugging that hole, you remove it by lifting that needle off the back, all the ink ends up spilling out.
Right. You'll get a big
happens?
glob of fucking ink all over the place, and then you'll do a short line. It's not going to work out well for you. You know, you just make a mess. Um, at the same time, so like if you're saying that you're just now deciding to fuck around and change a bunch of shit that you're doing because you were really used to something and now you're experimenting, then obviously you're going to have a hard time because you're experimenting. Like that's just case in
Hallelujah.
point, 101. It's going to be
Yeah.
fucking weird for a week or two. You know,
Yeah.
there's nothing that we can do that changes that effect. You know, it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But realistically, you know, so it's all really going to depend on so many different variables. You know, how far your needles are coming out of your tube, how fast you're running your machine, so many different things. You know, even the shape. If you're using diamond tubes versus round tubes,
Oh God, that's
if they have a
huge
bevel
difference.
cutaway on the front of the tube or not,
Yeah.
so many things make a difference.
Oh my gosh. I remember the first time I used a bevel tip versus not, I was like, what the fuck is happening with this shit? I used diamond tips for like fucking 8 years and I got a bevel diamond and I was like, whoa, this is way different. Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah. Everything is going to act to restrict flow. The more material that's there, the harder that you press forward or backward or something. It's always going to affect how that stuff is going. And the reason why we always say go one way is because it's the most consistent. As soon as you move backwards, and this is something you'll see on YouTube when those people are running those slick, clean, perfect lines backwards, they are moving so slowly
Right.
that they are damaging the skin beyond comprehension. It's not a clean, solid, healthy line. You shouldn't be able to feel it when it's healed.
Right. It looks like a good line, but it's going to cause a scar.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we're talking about when we're stating these things, like the difference between pulling your line backwards or just pushing it forward the right way. You're either tearing the skin up or you're not tearing the skin up. Whether or not you're looking at it and you can tell the difference, that's on you. But we're just trying to advocate doing tattoos the right way. There's a way that works and there's ways that don't.
Yeah. It's not rocket science, but I mean, like if you have been doing something the whole way and you've been learning off of YouTube for the past year, 2 years, 5 years, whatever, as soon as you start to question that ontology that you've built, you're going to have to start noticing the people who've been teaching you stuff have been telling you all the same things because no one on there, I guess, except for me and Brian's channel, actually knows what they're talking about. Not to throw shade. There are a couple people on there who actually know what they're doing. And I'm not going to say their names because it's 50-50 with how they're actually explaining stuff. But the science behind it is pretty simple. And if you think about this and you start studying, if you want to learn more, go learn some physics, learn some fluid dynamics, how things are going to be pulled against different substrates and mediums of different hardness and this and that, blah, 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 blah. Go and do that stuff.
I'm just going to point out that if you're running a coil machine and you're yarding your fucking needle out of your coil machine a half an inch, you're a psychopath.
You are a psychopath. You are.
So like, just don't do that. If you're doing that, that's probably like case in point, the start of your problem.
Mm-hmm. If you're watching videos and people have their needle out 4.5 to 5 fucking centimeters, right? You can see this shit from the moon. There's something wrong there.
Right.
If you're using 102 mag stack rounded to do tribal work, solid black filler otherwise, and you're pouring ink out of a cap onto the skin to do it, you're not doing a good job.
Right.
That's poor technique. You don't need a fucking 100 needles to do a tattoo smoothly or effectively. Oh,
So
oh, I
like
may should paste a link to that in the fucking show description. That fucking 100+ mag that you sent me. I was like, I barfed. I couldn't even believe how ludicrous that was. Own this black tribal. Oh, just fucking get in there. It's so garbage. Burn out your fucking rotary in 3.5 hours. Just push it. Fuck.
realistically, I mean, like you have to start thinking about the mechanical systems that you're using, right? And that's
Yeah.
what tattooing generically is. It's just a simple mechanical system, right?
Mhm.
So that's why sewing machines work so well. It's why coil machines work so well. It's a really simple machine, and the simpler the machine, the better it works. And if you
Mhm.
use it the right way, it will work the best way.
Work. Yep. I always, and I don't know if you got this too, but I've been using this weird analogy over like the past 2 or 3 months. Like a coil machine reminds me a lot of tatao, right?
Right.
You get the Polynesian tap, 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 right? And a rotary machine really reminds me of your Izumi, traditional Japanese stick and poke, pushing into the skin, lifting and pulling out, right? And the effects of each one of those and how they apply to the body actually come out very different when you look at them, especially long term, right? So you're using these machines differently and you're wondering why stuff is not coming out the way that you want. Maybe it's not only just because of your technique, but it's also because of the fucking shit you're using.
Yeah, for sure.
Unless you're really skilled. Like Brian, we don't have to fucking mention this on the show, but Brian's really good at tattooing. Fucking ding! I've got the fucking chair fucking thing above my head right now. He's really good, right? So he can use a coil machine or a rotary and experience the same effects because he understands what he's doing. But if you're just new into this and you're not getting the results that you want because you're watching someone else's social media showing this XYZ powder shading, like we talked about before, really thick lines or something like that, and you can't get the results that you want, try a different fucking machine. Try it. Don't change your hand speed. Don't change your positioning. Don't change anything. Just try something different and see what the results are.
In this particular case, though, if you're having trouble just pushing a line the right way, that just means that you had nothing but bad practice from the start.
Absolutely.
You're if you're really used to having your needle out really far and pulling lines back to you, it's just simply means that you're not used to running your coil machine the proper way. You're relying on the downward striking force of your machine due to the amount of travel that it has coming out of the out of the tip of your tube, and that's not really the case. That's not what you should be doing. That's what all those rotary people on YouTube are doing. They're putting their needles out as far as they can because they're trying to get the most amount of distance before the needle hits the skin while still being able to carry ink.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, you should be able to do a fucking outline on a full sleeve in an hour with a coil machine. Like they work fucking great, especially
They work
if your coil machine's set
great.
up correctly. You can have a 2 millimeter fucking stroke on your coil machine and it's gonna blast a fucking outline like with zero effort. It's
We got to watch our language there because I know you were going to go into something that probably wouldn't be
right.
politically
But
correct. Yeah.
so
Yeah.
there's a lot of unanswered variables that are going on with your
Mm.
question, but a lot of it is just gonna do to how you mechanically understand the process that's happening.
Mhm. Super
Stability is
simple.
really important with your needle. Ink flow is really important with your needle. You dial those two in, you're never gonna have an issue.
No, you can just fucking run till the day's end. If you're sitting there spinning your shit, keeping your fucking well open, right, on that line, heading forward, regardless of what you're doing, you could run lines till the end of fucking days. It's
I,
not a problem. The minute that you start changing stuff, dipping it way back, and you have to pay attention to the needle that you're running rather than actually paying attention to the line that you're running, that's way different. You're not paying attention to the tattoo, you're paying attention to the process. And that's not good practice. And we've said that, fuck, it's almost 20 shows now. I think we said that every single time. Don't yard your needle out. Don't look at the fucking tip of your needle. Look at the tattoo.
Right.
It's common sense. And if you're having problems with that, literally take a Bic pen, put a stencil on someone, and fucking draw on it with a Bic pen. How that feels, do that with a tattoo. Yard your shit in, 1.5 fucking mils, and just fucking go. If you can't get it to sit, your stretch is off. Fix your stretch. You don't have to worry about your fucking machine.
Right. All right.
God, that's good.
Next question. What do you got?
Next question. All right. This is a good one, actually. We skipped over this one last time as well. So I'm glad we're doing this re-recording. So Tracy Allen Jones writes in and says, I got cesarean scar. Can I cover it with a tattoo?
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of people do that every year. I just want to point out that
Done.
your name sounds like a country singer. It's kind of cool. That's perfect country music title right there.
Fantastic. Let's answer this the rest of the time with a little bit of a Texas accent. Okay. I'm putting a lisp on my fucking voice too because I might as well. Tracy Allen Jones. One thing you need to worry about is how old the scar is, of course, right? And then the actual texture of it. So if it's mobile, immobile, if it's lifted, hypertrophic tissues lifting above the natural skin like line horizon that you have, and if it's relatively new, you may not be able to do all of the detailed work that you want to do with it, but that doesn't mean that you can't tattoo it. Like skin is skin. You can tattoo it.
Generally speaking, so like let's say that you got your C-section 8 months ago, right? You might want to give it a year. Just let that shit heal out and take its natural course, right? Scars act really weird over time. They soften up a little bit. They become a little bit more like normal skin. It'll never be normal skin, but if you give it a long enough duration of time before tattooing over it, you're gonna have a really easy time tattooing over it. If you try to tattoo over that shit a week after you got it, or like too soon, there's gonna be issues.
Absolutely. Some of the things that can happen, just to point these out, if you go over top of the tattoo, the skin will split. It can bleed a lot, it can scab heavily. It can end up rejecting a lot of the pigment. The actual structure of the skin is going to be so much different than the normal skin, and we'll air quote around normal skin, that the actual like collagen, elastin fibers that make up the main structure are going to be in like so many different directions that's not going to be able to hold anything. There's going to be decreased in vascularization, decreased immunological responses in the areas that it's just not going to hold. But the longer that you let it set, the more your body has to remold. Usually, the better it's going to be at being able to hold the tattoo. And if you have somebody who knows how to tattoo scars, you're in. Now, here's one. This is from Jesse as well. Jesse sent us 12 questions.
Let's answer it all. I'm down. Just a whole Jesse Rickroll. Let's go.
All right. Here we go. Jesse from Montreal. Back into it here. So, how do we deal with pain? Clients who are in pain, pain management. How do we use the pain and the body's reactions to create a better tattoo experience?
Jesse, who the fuck taught you how to tattoo?
And that's answered for you, Jesse. Here we go.
All right, so like getting into your question, if your client is in so much goddamn pain that they're like kicking and screaming and moving around and all this crazy shit while you're trying to work, you just need to stop. One, ask them if they have an underlying condition, MS or fibromyalgia, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, some type of nerve issues. Like, have a conversation with your client, figure out what the fuck's going on there. Two, if they don't have anything going on, maybe start to look at what the fuck it is you're doing, right? Because tattoos don't generally hurt that bad.
No.
So like,
30% of the Western population wouldn't have a tattoo if they heard bad. This is one of those
right.
things I talk to people, their first tattoo, they're scared. I'm like, okay, how many people do you know who have a tattoo? They're like, oh my God, so many. I said, okay, how many of those people that you know have a tattoo can you kick the shit out of? They're like, oh, a couple of them. I'm like, well, then you're tougher than them. Let's do this.
Yeah, the reality there is if they're in so much pain that it's actually disrupting what you are doing, and they don't have any underlying condition that would actually be amplifying whatever it is that they're feeling, chances are you might be doing something wrong, right? So you might want to take a step back there and figure out what the hell it is you're doing. Maybe tattooing too rough, trying to tattoo too fast. Depending on the shop you're working at, whoever owns it might be rushing you to get through your tattoos faster. Tell that guy to suck a dick,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely. A whole bag of dicks.
you shouldn't rush.
Not that sucking dick is bad. We're not judging. Everyone loves a good dick sucking. Of course, we'll cut this. Ryan's had 3 cups of wine. We're good to go.
But the
Yeah.
reality is, there's something that you might be doing wrong. And if you're absolutely aware of the fact that you're not doing something wrong, which might not be the case if you're sending us this many fucking questions about tattooing, um,
Yeah.
then, I don't know what to tell you, man. Maybe Canadians are weak.
I know that not to be true. Hockey country, they're fucking boys. We'll fucking talk to Manufi friends up there. We fucking know you all good.
I know.
One
I
thing
love
we
all my
can go on.
Canadian buds.
I fucking love Canada. I lived up there on and off for 13 years.
The amount
I
of
fucking love Canada.
the amount of people I know that fucking slay tattoos that are in Canada right now.
It's ridiculous.
Right.
They fucking break America over their fucking knee. This is like WWE. They are the Undertaker. We are everyone else. Like they fucking slay.
Right.
They have all of the best artists. Them in Australia. Like it's ridiculous.
If we're going into crisis management here, and like, let's say that you are tattooing somebody who is for whatever reason showboating their pain tolerance, or lack thereof, then just tattoo for a few minutes, let them chill out and catch their breath, tattoo for a few minutes again, let them chill out and catch their breath. If they start to get bored of that pattern and then they sit back and shut the fuck up, you know, that they were just kind of putting on a show. Maybe they had friends in the tattoo shop and they just wanted to make it seem more exciting than what it really was. It happens, okay? I don't know why it happens, but it does. So
it does.
There's that. If you could actually tell that they're in real pain, then you're gonna have to stop and take a break and figure out what the fuck's going on. Buy a bottle of fucking Bactine, spray it on there, make it feel a little bit better. Ask them what exactly is hurting. Ask them if it's your mag work that hurts more, or if it's your liner that hurts more. Figure this shit out.
Get involved. Communicate. But we could do it. We need to get a sound bite for this one, but we'll go Entourage watch. Every one of us who's been in the business for more than 5 years has had one person who's come in with a fucking entourage, and the person you're tattooing acts like shit.
Right.
I had a Bollywood actor come into the shop about 5-6 years ago, and he brought in a fucking entourage, dude. I gave him, and I'm not incompetent with tattooing. I can say that I'm not the best, not the worst. I get what I'm doing, right? He wanted the letter A. And if you're a tattooer out there, I'm going to say this font, you're going to know it right off the top of your head. Scriptina. Yeah, Brian's nodding his head. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Scriptina, capital A. How long would this take normally to do, Brian?
Fucking 5 minutes.
Boom, done. That stencil, application dry, setup, application done, wipe, clean, wrap, out the door. 5 fucking minutes. The guy I tattooed, Bollywood actor. He brought an entourage of about 30 people, filled the fucking shop. It took me 4 hours to do that fucking egg.
That's funny. I would have loved to have been there.
Now, every once in a while, to say this on the scientific side, not to throw this dude under the bus, I'm not going to use names because we don't use names on this fucking show. Every once in a while, you're going to find a person whose brain is mapped a bit differently. So we have people who are auditorily, visually, or physically acutive with their input, right? With their with their synapses, how they interpret things, right? Some people, like if you go home after a long day's work and you listen to music and you close your eyes and you just disappear into sound to relax, right? Those inputs are going to have a greater gradient and influence on your brain and your emotions and all the stuff that goes on than other people, right? So you're like an auditorily acutive person. If you're a person who comes home from work and you like put on TV, you don't even listen to the sound. You're like literally just watching pictures go by. You watch your tablet, you doom scroll through Instagram or TikTok or whatever. You're not really listening to anything that helps you calm down. You're a visually acutive person, right? Now, every once in a while, you'll get a person who is going to go in, and the only way they can ever chill the fuck out is if they get a massage. You scratch their hair, you rub their feet. You have to do something where you're actually like physically touching them. Those are physically acutive people, and to tattooing, that is fucking torture to them. You're taking the one thing that makes them fucking calm and relaxed and happy, and you're turning it into fucking death. Now, I don't know if this Bollywood actor, who we will not name, was a physically acutive person, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt with how much he screamed and how fucking long that took and how many times I got threatened by 3, dude, literally like fucking 3 bodyguards. I'm in fucking downtown Seattle, and these guys are like, "What are you doing to him?" And I'm like, and like in my mind, most people from the Indian mainland are like, they're normal size, right? These were like Dolph Lundgren, Rocky 4 motherfuckers, right? Like big fucking dudes standing around him in a thing. They have all of his friends out in there. Everyone's drinking fucking coffee. I had to go buy coffee for everyone. It was a fucking disaster, right? Anyways, and he was dying. He was dying. I literally thought I was killing this guy. 4 fucking hours later, I minimum charged him.
Yeah, so there's always the worst case scenario.
That was a bad day. That was a bad day. Anyways, every once in a while this can happen. So, Jesse, yes, you need to study more. Brian hit the nail on the head there, but you send this much questions in, this many questions, and you're trying to figure stuff out. It means you have glaring holes in your understanding of what's going on. And that's fine because we all start out that way. But past the excuses that I tried to send you, you need to just open up your communication and guess maybe you don't know what you're doing.
I mean, it's not foreign for you to stop, look at your client directly in the eye and say, "Hey, are you fucking okay?" Like, just ask them.
Just stop, open your mouth. Here's a good one for you. All right, so Maleficera wrote in and said, Brian, literally Brian, I'm not an artist. I can't draw. However, I love tattoos. I'm so thankful to have you say what you say and to have the resources you're putting out there so I can learn. I love knowing more about this art form and skill sets. I find you fascinating and beautiful. Thank you for doing what you do.
Take it.
First stalker! Blah, 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 blah. Fantastic. Oh, cool. All right, last question, and then we'll get into our outro, the first one ever. I think we've finally fucking done it with our show. This is the last question from Jesse.
Nice. We're just gonna hire Jesse to ask questions.
Jesse's already planning to come out and work at our shops. I already told him that you got the place out in Arkansas, and he's like, "Hey, can I come out and work at this place?" I'm like, "You drive up to Brian's place, I guarantee you he'll put you to work." He's like,
You're not
"Really?"
gonna like it. Yeah.
He will put you to work, bro. All right. No, never mind. Fuck Jesse's thing. Sorry, Jesse. I love you, but we're not going to do that. We're going to do another one. It's from Frost Morn. It says, I've heard you guys say about multiple passes on the skin, specifically that you shouldn't do more than 3.
Shouldn't do more than one.
I've always seen tattooers online doing multiple passes to achieve gradient shading, dot speed, or overlaying stuff. They have to go over it multiple times to achieve darker tones. How can I do it more efficiently and make it less damaging to the skin?
All right, Frost Winter Soldier, whatever the hell your name was,
We
I can't
fucking
remember.
get this one. This is one question that I think me and Brian get all the time.
But this is a two-part thing here. First and
Yes.
foremost, if you're doing like let's say dot work, you're not doing nearly as much in one tiny little area as if you were to roast a fucking mag through there trying to color pack,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah.
the tiny little bit of shit that you're doing is not enough to actually do anything, right? That's why you can see all those individual little fucking dots. So stop worrying about that. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to tell if you overwork dot work. You're gonna have big fucking
Oh,
chunks.
really, 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 really quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There is. Yeah. It looks like somebody's taking a pickaxe to the skin. Remember the old term? I think when we started it was you hamburgered, and I've got like air quotes around this, where you hamburgered the skin.
right.
And we all got to learn it early on because we're using 4-pound machines running at 13 volts. And when you run a line too slow, you would literally see a cavernous depth of dead skin laid behind you that's dyed whatever
Right.
color you're using.
Specifically, when we're talking about passes and things like that, we're talking about your highest point of saturation and the momentum with your needle, how fast it's running. So if you're doing line work and you're running at 140 fucking cycles per second, pulling a line, you're gonna do one pass. And if you didn't get that shit in one pass, that second pass is probably gonna tear that shit up.
Absolutely.
So
Oh my god, yeah. Would 140 cycles per second a standard hand movement? If you ran over that twice, there would be no skin.
right, it would just rip it right
It'd be
up.
fucking gone. Ugh,
So
golly.
generally speaking, that's what we're talking about. That's why I always advocate for one pass tattooing. I can saturate a full area of black in one pass and not have to go back into it again. And it's just being consistent with everything that you're doing. So you make sure that you're not overly damaging the skin. But
Yep.
on certain specific things, like let's say you're using your liner to do shading, your liner is not hitting as much skin or surface area as a fucking 15 mag, right?
Yeah.
If you're running your liner at like let's say 4.5 volts because you're using a goddamn rotary machine, um, it's not running anywhere near as fast as a coil machine set at 6.5 volts that already runs high, right? So you can make multiple passes over that to get darker. At the same time, you could just fucking start dark. Like that's not hard. Start dark, work to light, do one pass. You can do it with dot work just as easily as you can with any fucking thing else.
Yeah, that's it, dude. Because people I find who are doing this wand flick shading type of back and forth pendulous type of shading, they're not comfortable committing to the skin. And they need
Right.
time to identify what they're doing. So they're waiting until it reaches that point that they're happy with, then they stop.
It's a lot to so like let's say that you're trying to shade in an area. You're using a gray wash for your shading. You can pass over that area 500 fucking times with your gray wash. It's never going to be black. You know, like it's just not going to heal that way. But you could start with black or a darker fucking gray wash and just make your dark area on your first try.
Yep.
I just don't understand the backwards science. Why would you try to work from light to dark?
Yeah, I get that a lot too, and I think it's just insecurity, right? Like when you go into lay, let's say you're going to do a solid black, we got 100% black in a cup. You lay your fucking needle and you're flicking out, and you're trying to create a smooth powdered gradation coming off. We're going to use that a lot. I think that's going to be the fucking word of the week is powdered shading, people. When you do that, if you don't lay it right the first time, you're fucked. And I see so many dudes, especially old school tattooers, who go in to do that fucking light powder flick shade out, and they get about fucking 30% out of their fucking stroke line, and it looks okay. And then all of a sudden they get that fucking peppered bullshit coming out.
The chop.
That's chop. Chop, 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 chop. Yeah.
That's
I'll have to
because
check
that
out the
flick
soundbite.
actually moves faster than their original hand speed. So what they're ending up with happening is your mag double hit, or it caught the skin and flicked out of it and skipped. So
And
there's
skipped.
a lot of ways that you can inadvertently end up with chop, and it's really just being not consistent,
Yeah, that's just bad technique,
which is
realistically.
cool because now people turn that into a technique.
You're working on one of those pieces right now too, aren't you? It's that heavy, dark, fucking,
Right.
the wolf thing. Yeah, you got to play with that stuff. But I mean, I think that's like where you're at, or like, and I know I can pull this stuff too. I can speak for myself, of course, not for you, but it's like if we wanted to pull that technique and utilize it in the tattoo, it's not fucking hard to do because we know it just is what it is. Like I wouldn't use that same type of quick lift and flick type of technique to try and create something that's smooth and gradiated, like
Yeah, no,
across a surface.
210%. Like all rights to the mag chop goes straight to Mike Chambers.
Brop, 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 brop.
But he took it and he made it a thing, and it looks fucking
Mhm.
awesome every time.
Yep. He does, dude. Carlos Torres, his mid-gray background, ghosting smoking that comes off, all fucking mag chop. It's fucking hilarious. Uh who's another one? Oh, I say Josh Duffy back in the day, but Josh Duffy now is no. His stuff is so good. I love Josh Duffy. He's so good. Who was I talking to the other day? Didn't know who Josh Duffy was. Like, who do you think is one of the best black and gray artists in the world? I'm like, Josh Duffy, hands down. They're like, what do you mean? And I showed them this stuff, like, that's really good. I'm like, yeah, he's a really good tattooer, right?
I don't know if there is a best black and gray artist. I think there's a big group of black and gray artists, right?
Wow.
None of them are the best. Nobody's absolutely perfect at what they're doing, and everybody has shit days. So get the fuck over it. Stop labeling people.
They get that fucking solid set technical stuff where they're all even, right? Like Boris. Boris is I can't even I don't even know, right? Like I fanboy over Boris and I have for years. The dude's he's ridiculous, right? Like he's a mile above artistically, but his black and gray work, I can't tell the difference between Josh Duffy, Carlos Torres. I can't tell, like they're all kind of the same, right? Because tattooing has limitations, unlike artwork, right? Like we have canvas, painting, sculpture, all these things, where there's no limits. Tattooing always has a limit, and it's the person you're fucking working with. That's the limitation.
Right.
They're gonna set what you can do. If I have a 95-year-old woman from northern Manitoba, Canada, rock and roll Canada, if I have her come in to get a tattoo, they're fucking snow bleached skin, 95 years old, paper thin. I cannot do the same tattoo as I could do on a 19-year-old from Jacksonville, Florida. It's not the same. It's not the same.
I would say the best black and gray tattoo artist is just the tattoo artist that does a good tattoo that day.
Oh, hands down,
It's
dude.
just
Hands
it's
down.
gonna change every single fucking minute of every day.
It probably will actually. No, you're totally right, dude. Because I've seen some of those fucking dudes roll into a convention and hit and fucking not send it out the park.
Yeah, I've never gotten into the comparison
uh,
of bests, right? Like
yeah.
it's just bizarre concept to me. No one's the best.
Well, compositionally, we could say that there are some who are. Oh no, actually, I got you. They're way better than others, but there's no one who stands out above that top crowd.
There's a whole spectrum, right? Like you can see the shittiest, and that's just the guy that started the first day, right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah,
you see the better artists. Those are just people that had a longer time in the field.
that was fucking right. James Tex compositionally, I fucking love his stuff, dude. Steve Moore composition. These are all Canadians as well, right?
Right.
Clint Danroth. Compositionally awesome. Damian Robertson. Fuck, dude. He's like so good at big work and crushes. I seen him. He posted a video. He did a back piece in like fucking 8.5 hours. Like, it's just good work, but it's just sound foundations that get them there. Like you and I both, like, I know I can speak for both of us on this, like a fine detailed full sleeve, we can line out in under 3 hours. Like, it's
Right.
not hard, and it's just because the foundational knowledge is there. Gray shading, like I did Lauren's sleeve, like you seen the picture, right? That was 2 and 3/4 hours. I shaded the whole fucking thing. People thought I was high on meth. No, it's found maybe. No, not really. But I mean, it's just foundational fucking application of stuff, right? And I think that day, dude, Saturday actually, I was on point. I had a good day, just like you were saying. I actually could say that. Like, everything I did, I think was at 95%. Like, it was good. There's no questions, and it was rote. I was just in the fucking flow. The day before, dude, not so much. I still
Nice.
did good tattoos, but it was a lot more fucking work on my side.
I have shit days at least once a week. You know, there's always going to be a day you're either pissed
Oh, at
off when you get
least.
to work, or your
Yep.
client was somehow annoying or fucking
hmm
strange. You know,
Something
shit
doesn't
just
fit the way you wanted.
right.
It's too
Shit just
big.
doesn't
It's
work
too
out sometimes.
small. Yeah. Or you'll have weeks where it's just that week, everything is fucking bad. I love the fucking theme weeks. Right. This theme week for me and Brian was shit wasn't the right size.
This is true.
Nothing was the right size,
I
dude.
mean, I've been sleeping on an air mattress for 2 weeks, so
Yeah.
it's been a rough 2 weeks so far.
Yeah. I got to stay at the Comfort Inn. That was all right. I got to stay at the Comfort Inn. And I did have a meth head smoke meth on top of the hood of my car when I went to go get my bags. So that was pretty cool.
That's a good week.
That's a good week. I think that's it. I don't think we need any more fucking questions tonight. We've got loads more. Like, I'm just doing a roll through because I've been putting our stuff up on here. I mean, there's a lot of fucking questions that we can pull from this stuff.
I don't even know how long we've been recording.
I think we've been doing about an hour and a half. But we'll do this. We're gonna do our first outro the second time, so that you all know what's going on. And I think this could be maybe a little bit more professional because in the next coming weeks, we were going to be having a ton of fun people in here. Next week, we should be having, hopefully, if I can get him to get on the fucking call, my buddy Adira, who's working at Texas Tech, who's developing DNA vaccine technology using tattoo stuff, which is super duper fun. We've been working together for a little while, and Brian has hooked not a fucking catfish, but the world's best, in our opinion, world's best fucking painter, which is rad. What's his
Anthony
name?
Weidschwitz. So if you haven't heard of him, you should just go look it up. Anthony Weidschwitz. He's an instructor. He runs seminars, educational programs, constantly providing information for artists around the world, etc. He's an amazing human being and hands down my absolute favorite painter. Not to mention, just in my professional opinion, the world's best oil painter. The guy's
Hands down,
amazing.
He's a monster. You can see what he does at scale. It's impossible. And when I'm sitting there arguing with Brian about the aesthetic principles of different values of art, when it comes to Tony, I can't fucking say shit because Tony's just really good at what he does. It's really good.
Yeah.
Oh fuck, what we got? We got September beginning. We got a cognitive neuroscience coming to talk to us about marketing and how it affects the human brain, specifically with tattooing, which I think is going to be a ton of fun. Oh, and we recorded this last time. I didn't remember to put this on here. I have one of the key members of the American Pragmatic Philosophical Society coming on to talk to us about the ethics of tattooing and how client relationships matter.
Nice.
That'll be fun.
We're essentially the heavy metal version of NPR.
We are. And this is NPR Tattoo PR Radio. Fuck. I need to probably do that again. What else can we do instead of Tattoo PR? I can cut that in. Oh, hi. This is Tat PR Radio. No, that's not good. Oh, this is Scab PR Radio. No, that won't work either. Fuck, I don't know. I'll have to work on that one for the outro.
Nice.
Anyways, that's it for today. All right, so that's our show. Thanks for listening. I want to say thank you for Brian for being just so awesome this week. I was doing the proofing of this, and it was just funny as all heck. So I hope that people enjoyed it. Once again, if you can, take a cruise over to your podcast provider of choice and leave us a review, star, like, recommendation, rating, anything like that would be very, very, very appreciated. Hopefully we can start reading those out again come next week. We keep getting them. I mean, I'll read them out if we don't get very many. I'm not reading out shit because you aren't doing your part of the job. Is that passive aggressive? Aggressive? I don't know. Anyways, that's gonna be our show. Oh, and we have a Facebook group now, so it's been going here for a little bit, but I've never plugged it. I don't know why. You can find us on Facebook. 2 Dudes Talk Tattoos. Join up. We post on there, once, twice a week, something like that. But it's got a bunch of people on it, and we're hoping to maybe turn it into a bit more of like a question-ask community, a place to keep centralized rather than a Reddit group, because Reddit's too depressing at times, and I think y'all know what I mean. If you have used Reddit, it's mean at times. It's kind of like Twitter, but people get more time to say what they want. Which, if you're like me and if I start something reading it wise, I have to finish it. It's just torture. Anyways, that'll be it for the show. We'll see you next week. Everyone stay safe, stay cool, stay out of fires if you have them raging near you. And, have a good one.